They say conflict only requires two things: difference and proximity. We can be as different as we want, but if we're not in contact with each other, there'll be no conflict. It's when two people with differences decide to occupy the same space and time that conflict begins to arise. That's why adult children prefer to live apart from their parents, and why holidays are sometimes filled with conflict. That's why families sometimes decide to avoid certain topics. Tacitly, they say to each other, "Let's be under the same roof and avoid conflict by pretending we don't have differences." So, if all that's required for conflict to exist is difference and proximity, then all that's necessary to eliminate conflict is distance and/or agreement. Is it that simple? Well, not really. The truth is, intimacy thrives on connection and honesty. It doesn't do well with distance and pretending differences don't exist. So what's a couple to do when they don't want to be apart and they can't agree? The answer is to develop and implement the skill of validation. To validate your partner is to set aside your own perspective. Once you've taken a moment to set your perspective aside, look at things through her eyes and acknowledge that from her perspective, the stance she's taking is completely valid. It doesn't require agreement. It doesn't require you to give up your stance or to diminish your integrity. It just requires an ability to look at things from your partner's perspective, and from that perspective to acknowledge the validity of her stance. Validation can bring about some pretty amazing shifts in how a couple responds to each other and to conflict. It has the effect of creating space while bringing people together. It allows partners to feel understood and creates the kind of atmosphere that encourages real problem solving and resolution. It's not the only thing necessary to resolve deep conflict, but it's the most important first step.